Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Alright guys, it's Monday. We got a lot to do here today. Come over here before we start anything else. Let me write down my notes here. Today. Monday. Let's just make a little list here. Let's check recording. Rant about GameStop. Buy Norgate data. What was the last? Oh yes. Check our caching indicator. Okay. So, and we'll come back here in a second. Look at the flows. But first, to the charts. If I can figure out which one it is. Well, I don't need that. Oh, it's this one. There we go. Okay, treasuries. A little higher overnight. You know, things on, what was it, Friday? Kind of pushed it up. It was really that Chicago PMI that pushed us up. And by the way, we've got, this morning, what do we got? We have at 9:45 S&P manufacturing PMI, and then at 10 o'clock ISM. So, we'll talk about that. And don't get ahead of me, Uzi. Don't get ahead of me. but treasuries are back up to this spot right here. So that's interesting. Wait, what does that put us in yield? 447. All right. Anyways, S&P 500. Oh my gosh. That end of month was one of the craziest I've ever seen. Like, I've seen big volume, I've seen it move, but like just an absolute chase higher into the end. It was just bonkers. Oh, if you missed it, you missed something, because that was amazing. I wish I was recording it because it was wild. Oil's still kind of struggling. OPEC, it kind of sounds like OPEC might be normalizing supply after having it been cut for so while. It kind of, I don't know, man. OPEC seems pretty good at this, at determining like how much supplier demand it needs. Of course, they are keeping the price a little bit higher than we would like because they don't like the Biden administration, but you know, whatever. Gold and silver still struggling. I mean, it's not too bad. Obviously, they're coming off of some pretty wild highs, but still struggling here, gold and silver. And then we got copper. Copper are also kind of struggling a little bit. Japanese yen, well, okay, it's been bounced, a little bit more volatility in the Japanese yen over the past few days, and they are up in the overnight, and the dollar is right back at 104.48. So, oh, and then last but certainly least, as always, well, Bitcoin is slightly above 70K. So, there's that. Okay, so on Friday, we said, what should we get for my birthday? And you guys wanted me to get the data. So I need to go and buy the data at some point. It was kind of like, I didn't do it because I'm like, well, you know, you want to do it like right when you're about to use it, right? I guess, I don't know. Anyways. But you can also, I found out you can get 6 months instead of 12 months. And it's a lot cheaper. So like, I don't know. We could probably do both that and get an SSD. But I don't think we actually need an SSD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to look at disk. Okay, that's the right disk. Doesn't look like it's using a whole lot, but I don't have anything recording yet, so I'm not even testing it. I kind of thought that there would be a little bit of load on it from like my caching indicators and all of that sort of stuff, but I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into OBS and set up recording. But I don't, well, let's see here. Oh, I don't have it. Okay. So I need to find the indicator. Or sorry, the filter. Yeah, I think it's called source record. Oh, there's a new version of it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Windows. Wait, am I going to have to restart OBS? I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah, well, let's check it out first. Install. Or info. That's okay. I appreciate your concern, Windows, but I'm pretty sure it's okay. Okay, so now when I come in here, probably it's not going to show up. Okay, hold on. I will be right back. I'll be right back, okay? Okay. Should be back. Okay, we're good. We're good there. Now, if I come to my filters, plus source record, main, and yeah, it'll go to videos. Recording. Different audio. Okay. I also think I need to do the... Yeah. Hey. Only the mic should go to 2. Okay. So then when I come back to filter main, so we should call it like rename main record. Okay. And I can select audio source track 2. So now if I come into my drive here, no, videos right here. Aha, yes. Oh 0428 0529. I don't think it's actually doing it. Hold on, record mode. recording. This right here, none. Okay. Maybe. No. Maybe I'm in the wrong spot. Videos. Uzi, your brother still has shares? Yeah, he's still trying to lick. Really? How can you not be out? Okay. Always. Aha. Okay. Hopefully that's working. So now we come over to here. And do we see it recording to the SSD? Do we see increased load on the SSD? I'm going to say no. Okay, but I'm going to add another one here. This filter. This camera here. Source record. Camera record. Record mode. Oh, wait for a second. MP4. This should also be NVIDIA NVENC. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, record mode. Oh, and the path should be camera. Always. Okay. And that should give me just the camera. I'll close that. I'm gonna put that over here. Okay. All right, to our list. Oh yeah, so let's talk about flows. Most important thing, PMIs likely to get lots of attention. Okay, that Chicago PMI was really big on Friday, which suggests to me that the market seems to care now about growth compared to inflation. Before it was like it was all the focus was on inflation. Now the market is starting to say, oh, look, the economy is weakening. This is one of the first times in a long time that I can remember where weak growth numbers led to the S&P 500 selling off, despite the end of month buying it, you know, the end of the day. So that means that the PMIs today, the ISM PMIs, are very, very important. Okay. Let's come back over here. What else do we got today? We have 3-month bill auction. Bill auctions. I don't see any speakers. We do have, let's see here. We have like ECB this week, don't we? Let's come in here real quick to look at this week. And I guess I need to add the euro one to that. European parliamentary elections. ECB press conference. Okay. On Thursday. ECB Thursday. It's the first trading day of the month. Business day of the month. Favors buying. Okay, so for here for flows, wait until after PMIs. Likely to be slow until then. Andre, good morning. Both ECB and BOC making right, yeah, and they're likely to be cuts. Yeah, that's a good thing to point out as well. Let's see here. Last time it would have been good to go, but he never signed the aftermarket trading disclosure, so he missed his chance on the last spike. He's good now though. Yeah, I bet. Heard you were short 500,000. No, not yet. You don't have to know. If you post a link, I will not see it. Despite me changing all of the settings so that YouTube will allow links, it doesn't allow links. So, I don't know what's still. I got a rant coming on here, but you know what? I have this muffin. I made these muffins. I made it myself. I couldn't. You know what's really freaking annoying? Okay, is the grocery store that I go to. They often have brand muffins. And then they don't, it's kind of intermittent. And so I'm like, fine, I'll make it myself. All you have to do is buy the brand, right? No brand in the store that I can find. So I go and I find the cereal, and the cereal has instructions to crush it up and make. So I did that, and they're really good. They're really good. And that gives me really good solid fiber that is not scratchy on my gut, which is really good, I think. So I'm going to eat my brand muffin. Well, you guys tell me what you think about GameStop. And we'll talk about it here in a second. Okay, Alion, the treasuries open at 8:20 Eastern time. Now, keep in mind that there is an extended session and there is a pit session. So the pit session meaning there is an options pit that is still going, and the it's the last remaining options pit really. And that's when they start is 8:20. So you'll be able to see data. You'll see it moving before then, but 8:20 is really when you see the volume come in and activity. And you usually see a little bit of movement there right at the 8:20. Those guys also stop at 3 Eastern time. So 1 hour before the regular market closes, the treasury market will close, and so you will tend to see a ton of volume and weird things happen around that time in the treasuries. Okay, and then with everything else, they close at what is it? Want to say 7 o'clock Eastern time, and the CME markets are closed for 1 hour, and then it starts back up again for the extended session. Some people talking about maybe we should go all weekend and stuff like that, which I'm not really that interested in, but hey, if they make money out of it, I bet they'll probably do it. Okay, Obsidian Futures in reference to your comment on market forecasting growth more than inflation. I'm starting to see that in energy. Sure, OPEC has a demand forecast, but we got to start seeing countries growing out. So OPEC had their meeting like recently, and so there's a lot of talk, and the whole time it's basically been cuts, and we're gonna keep it cut for a while. But now they're kind of saying we're gonna work towards normalizing it, because they are seeing, you know, like the demand for it, and they don't, you know, they like price kind of where it is. I don't think that they want it like, I think that they want it to be $100 a barrel. So, you know, and above that, they would probably start putting more out so they can make more money. But at the same time, we're seeing all of these indications that the U.S. economy is slowing. So, yeah, it's going to be these PMIs. Again, these PMIs that we're going to get here today are going to be big. So if the PMIs are weak and you see the S&P 500 sell, that's the situation that we're talking about, where the markets are concerned about future growth. OPEC's main goal, honestly, is high oil price. Not quite. I would say OPEC's main goal is to make money. They can make money with lower oil prices and higher demand, right? Because they're selling a lot of it. You sell more of it at a lower price. That can sometimes make you more money than selling. But they have all these nifty formulas and everything to kind of figure out like what their optimal price is. And I really think that politics play a factor here. They were much nicer about it when it was Donald Trump, because Donald Trump basically bowed, you know, before the OPEC masters. And Joe Biden has thumbed his nose at them every opportunity, and the Saudis in particular are just pissed. And so they are trying to keep oil prices a little bit higher than they normally would to screw over Joe Biden. And it's probably been one of the most significant factors throughout Joe Biden's term. Now, luckily, Joe kind of reversed course on a couple of his initiatives and stuff that started at the beginning of his term. And so the U.S. is now pumping out more oil than ever. But in order to keep the oil prices down, he basically had to empty the entire strategic reserve. Well, not the entire, but like there's not much left in there. I'm very concerned about that, but he did it. It's done. So there's this one instance in the oil markets where Trump faked out the oil markets in 2017. Are you talking about that time when Peter Navarro said something about oil and it like jumped, and then they're like, oh, this can't be like, this is not like an official policy. You just misunderstanding Peter. And then, oh my gosh, the whole thing's a mess. There's a number of times where that happened, but the Peter Navarro incident, that was the craziest one to me. Why do we roll over treasuries now, but now S&P? Okay, yeah. So let's discuss this a little bit, because you guys have been asking a lot of questions about it in Discord. Okay, so I got my little calendar open over here. Let's clear all my notifications. I don't need those. Okay, so what happens is, once you are in the contract month, you can be called to deliver treasuries, right? So you do not want to trade June right now. If you are trading in June, there's a possibility that you could be called up to deliver a $100,000 treasury. Right? You don't want that. So you don't trade the current month. Well, first call is actually, as I understand it, the term is we first call. Maybe I have the word wrong, but basically 3 days before the first business day of the month. So the first business day of the month is the 3rd. So 3 business days before that would be Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. So there's the 31st, 30th, and 29th, right? So then the day before that is the last, like, quote unquote, safe day to trade that contract. So you would want to switch to September last Tuesday. And you can see that all the volume moved over. Now, for the micro treasury yield futures, it's a little bit different because those just switch over on the month. So you could have traded it all the way up until Friday, and then that contract gets delisted essentially. But it seems that all of the volume switches over on that last day of the contract. So over here on the micro treasuries, you should be on M for June. I know I have no clue where they got M from or why the lettering is the way that it is. And for the full treasuries, you should be on September, which is U. So ZNU24. It's a clever ploy, really. He's only releasing 11% of daily U.S. gasoline demand. It's nothing but June oil contracts did dip, so the price at the pump will reflect that, and he'll take. It's not a good thing. Like, the thing that I find so funny about the whole Biden administration is he takes such a cynical approach to governance and politics. Whatever it is that I can do that is going to make the people vote for me in this moment right now, I'm going to go and do it. Almost like a psychopath. Like psychopaths, they can't see it, you know, they can't plan through the future very well. I'm not saying that he's a psychopath, but it's just kind of like really short-sighted decisions, right? Like the strategic oil reserve is for, like, if there's a real emergency, like a war, and we need it for the war, right? But he's using it for political purposes. But I really don't think that anybody's giving him credit for it. Like, yeah, oil prices didn't go crazy. So it may be preventing him from, I mean, man, he's so unpopular. You know, what if we were having like high oil prices or something like that? How much worse would it get for him? I don't know. But it's not like the low oil prices are helping him, you know? Really, when it comes down to it, Americans blame Biden for the high cost of living, high interest rates, all of that. The inflation that we've seen, they view it as Joe Biden. Whether that's fair or not, I think that it is largely fair. It's going to be interesting to see because it really looks like Donald Trump's going to win. Of course, probably crazy stuff could happen, right? Are you seeing all these people online? For some reason, it's like all over TikTok and stuff like that. People hypothesizing that NATO will get dragged into a larger war with Ukraine before the election, or China will attack Taiwan before the election. I think that they're all just like me, where they're looking at the polling and everything and seeing Donald Trump so far ahead. And it's never in my life, or at least in the time that I've been watching politics, I have never seen a national election just run away. It's always been close. It's always been close. So I'm super skeptical when I see Donald Trump so far ahead. I'm like, can this really happen? Like, I'm not sure if that's even possible under modern politics anymore. So maybe that's why everybody's thinking like, oh, so some other crazy thing's going to happen to make it close again, right? A war usually helps the incumbent president. Maybe. But right now it looks like he's going to win. And it's just super weird. I blame Trump for the inflation. I blame Biden for continuing the spending status quo when he really should have reeled it in. Well, so wait, let me think about that for a second. Let me finish eating this muffin here. Let's see here. The whole world is shifting. We just got rid of labor. Oh, and that's in reference to go look at how far ahead Pierre Poilievre is in Canada for the conservative versus liberals. And it's a huge spread. It is. He's going to be the base. He's basically shooing for the next prime minister. Like everybody expects him to be the next prime minister. And I've been seeing him, been following him for a long time. He's super sharp, man. He's super sharp. I've been a fan of him for like since 2018, I think is when I first became aware of him. But you know, it is shifting, because I think that one of the things that happened, listen, I'm not a liberal, but I do think that the liberals are right about some things. And one of the things that I think that liberals tend to be pretty good at is trying to do research to back up their ideas and make policy based on data. Now, that doesn't always work out, because you can have really, you know, once there becomes political incentives involved, that can kind of create bad studies. Okay. And they don't seem to understand this thing that like all systems have flaws. They think, oh, well, if we do this, and then everything would be perfect. No, you would just, you know, you have to sort out that system, and then you'd see the problems here, and you kind of have to pick your problems. But so that's what liberals are maybe good at. That's a good thing. But the problem worldwide that I'm seeing with the liberals right now is that they're not really what they claim to be. Like they were supposed to be the party of working people and regular people, and they're really not. Big tech has basically completely taken over the Democrat Party and is actively working against everyday people and in favor of large global multinational corporations. And in particular, I think the policy that they've been doing that has hurt them the most is on housing. You go to every liberal area and the housing prices are just ridiculous. And they should be following the data and everything. Well, the data says that price controls and all of these other sorts of things that they do on housing don't work, and yet they continue to pursue them. And that one alone is probably the single largest contributing factor to liberal governments around the world just getting completely ousted, because the cost of living is so high, people can't afford to buy houses anymore. And Canada is the perfect example of that. Like, you think things are bad here in the US? Man, the housing prices in Canada are insane. And I think that Poilievre might be running to, election victory just off of that one issue, to be honest. It's crazy. But going back to what Uzi said, I actually blame Trump for the inflation. I blame Biden for continuing the spending status quo when he really should have reeled it in. If I could go back in time and take the 120,000 PPP loan we were offered, knowing what I know now, we would have taken it, but we read the promissory note and it scared us. Yeah, well, that's crazy. But I mean, I get you did okay, I guess, right? So this is an interesting thing, is the PPP loans, because first of all, it was a terrible program. Like, the way that it was set up and everything was just kind of stupid. Like, in retrospect, at the time, a lot of us were like, come on, this is a little bit crazy, but kind of stupid, right? It was a huge printing of money. It absolutely was. And that was after the Federal Reserve had already printed a ton of money and Congress had already put in a ton of stimulus. The thing that I find interesting about it is that you could consider it supply side stimulus, right? Except for that, it wasn't so much stimulus as it was like stemming the bleeding, right? They're coming in saying, we have to spend this tons and tons of money or supply will get destroyed, right? So what would have happened if we didn't do the PPP program? I'm not sure. I would tend to think that it would have been really bad. Like, I think that a lot of supply would have been destroyed. And since we had already stimulated things with, like, giving people stimulus checks that people were going out and spending. Like, people were spending, even at that time, people were buying more stuff. Like, the real bottleneck hadn't come yet, but people were starting to buy more during that time. So, you know, I think that inflation would have been worse. So then you kind of have to come back out and think about it. And it's like, okay, so it was supply side stimulus. It was probably necessary. It wasn't implemented very well. So was it that it was too much? Or was it just that we needed to adjust the rules for it, right? Because the thing that bothers me with it a lot is that it was a lot of people put the money into, or took that money and didn't really put it into supply side stimulus, right? They just pocketed it. They didn't actually use it to expand their businesses or keep their businesses running. So maybe we could just say that it was a very poorly crafted supply side stimulus. I don't know. But the whole thing is that we did all of that. And then Joe Biden came into office and he's like, oh, I want to do a stimulus too, because, you know, I don't want everybody to blame the recovering economy on Donald Trump. I need to be able to do something to take some credit for it. So which was the point at which it was too much, you know? And maybe it was back during Donald Trump's term. You might be right, Uzi. But the problem is that because Joe Biden came in and like added onto it, and then continued to run super huge deficits that he didn't need to, he ends up taking all the blame. So it's like, how dumb can you be? It's just wild. Now, this is interesting because, Larry Summers, he is out Friday, I think it was, with an argument that Donald Trump's policy platform is inflationary. And you know what? When I look at it, at least the measures that he talks about, he's right. They are inflationary. But Donald Trump would also presumably increase supply. So, you know, there is some bit to counter there. So I don't know if his term would be strictly inflationary. But I also kind of suspect that we're getting a weakening economy right now, and that by the time Donald Trump would be getting like put into office, that we could maybe be facing a recession at the beginning of his term. Like, that's a real possibility too. So then it wouldn't matter. Okay, so we talked about that. We should talk about the GameStop thing, shouldn't we? So the big news, great summary here. Zero Hedge as always. GameStop shares double after RoaringKitty posts a $180 million bet. So he went on to Super Stonk, or at least his Reddit account, RoaringKitty. I got to be really clear. I can't prove that it's him. That was his account. He could have sold it. And this is like getting crazy because this is now the second round of this. It seems a little bit irresponsible to me. Like, before, they were calling him to testify in front of Congress and basically accusing him of pumping the stock. And that's why we all assumed that he went quiet. And now he's like doing it even more brazenly. Okay, this guy. But anyways, so he went and he posted this image right here, basically showing that he owned about 5 million shares of GameStop and had bought a ton. Let's see here. It's $65 million worth of options, of call options. Now, his strike price is $20, but he paid basically $5.50 for him. So at $25.50 is his break-even point. What did the stock do overnight? Oh, it jumped all the way up to 42. So he's in the money. Yeah, he's in the money. But you know what? Here, what do I think about this GameStop situation? If you care about retail traders and you want retail traders to be more successful, you should be pissed. You should be absolutely pissed about what's going on here. Because what really happened? I'll tell you what really happened, okay? He pumped the stock last time, and then while all you retail suckers were buying it, he sold into you. He made money off of that last round. That's how he has, what is it? $180 million now to play with? How did he get that much money? He sold into you. So now he posts another big bet, and you guys, you want to just get screwed again? Like what? That just boggles my mind. He pumped it, he sold into you, then the stock sold into you, and now he's pumping it again, and you're like, hey, yeah, I want to get screwed over a second time. What? Are you people crazy? You're crazy. Well, we got 15 minutes until it opens. I'm going to bet you that there is a little bit more upside today, because what tends to happen, as I've seen it, is the headline goes out. A lot of people can't buy it in the pre-market, so they will buy it at the beginning of the session. But what are the chances that those options are still in the money 3 weeks from now when the options expire, right? Because they won't expire until the 21st. That's a long time to hold on to that. So what's really going to happen? It's going to pump, and he's going to sell his options into you again. I can't stress it. Really, retail traders should be pissed. Like at this point, I say RoaringKitty is a fraud because he is pumping and dumping onto you. He pumped it. You guys all bought. He sold into you while you guys were all struggling with your stupid, foolish positions. He sold and made money. And now he's trying to pull the same trick on you again. How legal is this? Well, as far as I understand, there's no rule against posting your position. But it sure is kind of getting into like, this is just manipulating things, right? So, you do kind of have to wonder at which point authorities will start to get involved. I think that they may have to add some rules. Like, you know, if you own a certain amount of something, there's certain extra disclosures that you need to make and so forth. Because really what should be happening here, he posts his position. There should be a little disclaimer that says, well, that's no guarantee that it's going to go up. And he could change his position and sell into you at any time. You know? I want to record this because I feel like that this has become a cult. And that people are getting suckered here. Guys, he pumped it last time. He made money. All the retail traders lost. And now he's trying to pull the same sucker bet on you again. The stock is pumped up. If he's smart, he will sell it this morning. And all of you guys that are buying it in the aftermarket are going to be left holding the bag. He's going to be the guy who ruins it for everyone. Like seriously, I can't believe that he posted this morning and all of the GameStop lunatics out there are all happy about this. You should be pissed. He sold into you last time. He screwed you over. He's probably going to screw you over all again, and you're thanking him for it. It makes me angry. You know me. This is that like ADHD enhanced sense of justice sort of a thing. I see people screwing over my people. It pisses me off. My people are retail traders. I want retail traders to do better. It's such a sad thing to me that most retail traders lose money. I think it would be a good thing for the market if retail traders, you know, at least half of them made money or something like that, right? But no, everybody just comes in and screws them over, and nobody ever stands up for you guys. It's like, oh, well, that's just what happens. Do better next time. Get good. Okay, well, this is some your fault, right? Like, if you buy into this sort of a thing, then you get what's coming, right? If retail makes money, it takes from institutions, sure. I think that would be a great thing. If all of the retail traders figured out how the index funds behave and work so that they could take money away from the index funds and eliminate the advantage that the index funds have so that it's no longer more profitable to buy into an index fund than to try and manage a portfolio yourself, then people would have to go and buy individual stocks, and that would be a net positive for society, because right now, public companies aren't really actually public companies, you know? So I would be perfectly okay with that. But RoaringKitty isn't making the money from retail institutions. He's making it from all you suckers that go and buy the stock after him. Because he tweeted something, the stock pumped up, and then what happened? He sold. He made money. He made money off of all you guys. And now he's doing the same thing again. And I just can't believe that everybody wants to pile into this. Like, not only did he sell on you, but then the company itself turned around and sold on you. So I just can't imagine why anybody would still want to play this game. You're crazy? Well, you know what they say, there's a sucker born every second, right? So that's what I think about GameStop. You know what? It might, well, we still got 10 minutes. SEC Chairman 2025. Let's do it. You know, I wish I was qualified to run an institution like that. But you know what? I think that if I was qualified to be SEC Chairman, like, you know, I had the executive knowledge and experience to do that, right? I would probably just be really frustrated as SEC Chairman because they have very limited resources and they kind of have to play along to some extent with the big players. Otherwise, you just get removed. So, like, there's only so much you can do. The one consolation over all of this time was that Joe Biden decided to veto the bill that got through Congress that basically said, let's not regulate crypto at all. Like let's put crypto through a completely separate set of rules that's advantageous to it compared to everything else. That was, I can't believe that got through Congress. And I feel like that the only way that it could do that is there's people paying money. Right? There's people that have money in crypto and they're lobbying, and now the money from crypto is corrupting Congress. And ironically, the only thing between us and more corruption from the cryptocurrency world is Joe Biden. Well, I'll take it. But Donald Trump, somebody gave him the big contribution, because Donald Trump has been like mentioning pro-Bitcoin stuff in situations where it would make no sense to do so. So there's got to be like a really rich donor, gave him a ton of money, got him all hyped about, oh, we should be all in on crypto. That rule, maybe under a Trump presidency, probably becomes law. And then cryptocurrencies can continue to live in this wild west where they can do anything. It's crazy. So, I mean, eventually this GameStop thing is going to die down, right? So we were usually ahead of the curve on these things. Eventually, the retail traders are going to figure it out that, oh, hey, he pumped it last time and sold into us. We all lost money. He made money. Now he's doing it again. It's just straight up fraud. Straight up fraud. I think like when I say you put yourself, when I say he's a fraud, he has presented himself as a champion of the little people, a champion of the small traders. And there's this big corrupt system that is illegally shorting it, and we're going to defeat them and make this mother of all short squeezes happen. And meanwhile, while he's saying all this stuff, he's selling into you. So he is not in it for the long haul. He is not in it all the way. He is in it for the short profit. And he's playing you guys for suckers. That's why I say he's a fraud. He's not in it for you. He's in it for himself, and he's making money off of you. My AT&T position is green, so I should trademark that as an indicator. Every time that position goes green, the market craters. Could be. The telecoms hasn't been the best trade because they're in a tough position for the next decade or two. GameStop will go bankrupt. I honestly believe in the long run that probably is true. They'll probably pump a couple more times before it eventually happens. But what I'm seeing over there in GameStop is that they were given the greatest opportunity that any company ever could to reinvent themselves, and it's just been a complete abysmal failure. They haven't done anything with it. The business is as worse than it ever was. They got all of this money, and like, what did they decide to do with it? Start an NFT store? Come on. It's just so stupid. There's so many cool... I remember all of these things they were talking about where like you'd go in there and they could like help you build your PC. And there's a couple of these things I'm like, oh, I don't know how much money that would make, but that would certainly be cool. That would certainly get me in there perhaps. But no, they just wasted it all on stupid harebrained schemes. Company deserves to go bankrupt, in my opinion. After all that, fail an opportunity that big, you deserve to go bankrupt. It does seem like, well, I it totally makes sense to me though, Uzi, because basically what has happened is the telecom industry has kind of gotten itself in a little bit of a hole here, where basically they've spent all of this infrastructure, all this money on infrastructure, taken on a lot of debt, and aren't really making money with it. They're, because they're just constantly behind. And so basically the market's take is these companies aren't going to be really very profitable. That's why they have to have such a high dividend, because otherwise nobody would want to own them. And so anytime that it starts getting to this certain spot where, they're making money or like it's a good investment, the only way that could happen is if the market has been pumped up too much. Because it's not like you can't make money from AT&T. It's just you're going to have to hold it for a really, really long time. Still haven't opened. I'm kind of trying to like bide my time on here. And I do want to try and go and edit it. We'll see if I have the opportunity to go and edit this, because it's just, again, I think retail traders should be pissed because there was a huge pump before, and what happened? RoaringKitty, he sold into it. He wasn't holding it for the long haul. He took the quick profit. He made money, and everybody else that bought into that lost. And now it's happening again, and you all want to jump on board it? How stupid can you be? he's going to sell it. Like, there's no way, very unlikely that those options are still going to be profitable 3 weeks from now. He is going to take the jump as an opportunity to sell it. He's just going to dump it on your heads. And then I'm sure he will turn around and he will try and buy it again until you guys figure it out and stop playing that game. And eventually there will be a situation where he buys into it and it doesn't pop and he has to take the loss and he stops. Assuming that RoaringKitty even is still Sim Gill, I have serious doubts. I strongly suspect that somebody bought all of his social media accounts. I think some big high roller bought all of his social media accounts so that they could pump and dump. Okay, here's the open. First move is a sell. Can't remember the name of the indicator that I put on to say like percent change bar. Yeah, it's at $40. So again, his position is at 25. Did it just get halted there? Looks like it. Had the bar before it was 2%, and that bar was, yeah, so basically 5% drop. I've been rolling 1 month T-balls here in Canada and earning 4.75 each month on an initial 25. Wow, really? Well, let's see how they go. That would be awfully funny if it just made a beeline for 25.50. Make a beeline for 25.50, have him basically be a break even. But who knows? Like, he could be selling it right out the gate here. Could be. Yeah, it is halted. Actually, so, you know, I wish I had saved these indicators. I think it's data gap. Is it this one? It'll, like, draw a little symbol on it. But not until after it starts again, so let's see it. Okay. Back to our list. Okay, analyze the Trump conviction. So, when we last talked about the Trump conviction, I was making the bet that it would actually be a hung jury. Now, I was making that determination based on a story that suggested that one of the jurors, they were watching his reactions and everything, like one of the guys on, because it's mostly women that were on the jury, one of the guys seemed sympathetic to the defense. And was kind of nodding along with them and kind of seemed to agree with them greatly. Okay. Now, so that's why I thought that it would be, you know, a split decision or something. Well, The decision came out and Trump was found guilty on all 35 counts. So does that mean that like the story was all BS, etc., etc., etc.? Well, no. And I think I learned something very, very important to help us predict what will happen in these situations in the future. Okay. So what is that? Well, this is a case that is based on a novel legal theory, really two novel legal theories, really. The first one is that the payment to Stormy Daniels to keep the story under wraps was a campaign expense and not a legal expense. Okay, they marked it down as a legal expense. They're claiming that it was for the election, which is kind of silly. Like I think that the payment even happened like after the election and all that sort of stuff, right? But yeah, it's before the so that's the first part of it. But then the second part of it is that in order to make it a felony, they had to say that it was to cover up another crime, and they don't have to prove that another crime occurred. They don't even have to say what that crime was. All they have to do is make the conclusion that it was to cover up another crime. So that is a legal theory that they're using to prosecute Trump with. Really like trumped up charges, really to get him in as a felony from a prosecutor that has basically been downgrading everything from felonies. Like 60% of the cases that he's run, they would be felonies, and he made them into misdemeanors instead. So it really is absolutely without question trying to just prosecute Donald Trump because they hate him, right? Okay. But the problem is that in a case where there is a novel legal theory being employed, it really all comes down to the judge. The jury does not determine what the law is, or if in this case, the law should be applied in this way or that way, or like what would be the long-term effects of us doing that. That is not what the jury does. The jury takes the evidence that is given to them and the instructions that are given to them by the judge, and they make their determination. So what happened here was the judge signed on to the prosecution's novel legal theory, and therefore the instructions that they gave to the jury were basically as such that he was going to be prosecuted no matter what. That's really what's going on here, right? As soon as the judge was chosen, it was in the bag. So as soon as they got a judge that was going to subscribe to that legal theory, the case was decided, because Trump wasn't denying that they made the payment, just that it was not a campaign expense and that there was not an underlying crime, right? So another way of thinking of it is that and unless you were going to do jury nullification, you probably would have convicted Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts too, even though you think that the whole thing is unfair and incorrect and improper, just because of the instructions given by the judge. So that does give him a chance to appeal it. My understanding of the way that the process works makes me skeptical that they will be able to get it overturned before the election. They've been saying, you probably heard people talk about he's supposed to be sentenced on July 11th, I think it is, which is like 3 days before the Republican convention. My understanding of it is that will probably get pushed back. That Trump is going to any day now here appeal the decision, and the sentencing will probably be delayed while they're appealing it. Saxo disables purchases of GameStop. It's, well, wow. Okay, so there's the gap. That's not a very good gap indicator. Let's see if I can find maybe it's this data gap pointer. Oh, what? I'm not allowed to add that one, huh? There we go. Yeah, that's the one that I wanted. They've already wrap him up with litigation and tie him down. Yeah. Now, so now we get into like the political analysis of it, which is kind of crazy. Because Donald Trump has raised, my understanding is, over $200 million since the indictment, which is absolutely insane. And some 50 million of that is all from small donors. And according to the Trump campaign, the majority of it, like 60-70%, are from first-time donors. So the initial, and there's also snap polls showing Donald Trump favorability rating increasing 6 points. So it actually looks like, from a political perspective, that it is helping Donald Trump. That a large number of Americans feel that it is unfair, that there is like a two-tier legal system, and that they are unfairly using the legal system to persecute Donald Trump. And they're saying, well, if they can do it to Donald Trump, they can do it to anybody, and we cannot allow this sort of a thing to stand, even if I don't like Trump himself. And the rich people are definitely saying that, because the rich people are going, oh, well, I don't want it to be I crossed the wrong person that's in power, and then they're going to come after me legally, even if I didn't do anything wrong. So I think that the rich are also, because 150 million of that are from big donors. So yeah, I think that the Democrats may regret doing this. But let's see. Like, being able to call Donald Trump a felon on the internet, it will have an effect on people, especially those, like not very engaged voters that aren't paying attention. It's going to affect them. And we'll see how big of an impact it actually has. It's kind of... It really bothers me. So when I was looking at all of the reactions on Reddit, the thing that stuck out to me the most, and this has been happening a lot lately actually, is how vapid all of the comments were. Like most of the comments on Reddit were just like, people celebrating and not really contributing anything. Just like, yay, Donald Trump is a felon. And that's like all of these comments were, right? It really disturbs me that people care more about what they're going to post on social media about it than they do about what the possible future political and legal ramifications of this decision are. I don't know how a society continues when you're in that kind of a state. Looks like GameStop just got halted again. Oh, nope. Came back a little bit. It's probably going to get halted there. But I think enough Americans do realize the legal ramifications of this and are like, no, this isn't good, even if I hate Trump. Because people are coming out of the woodwork. It's pretty wild. But we'll see where things go with the appeal. Okay, well, the treasuries have been chilling up here at the higher end of the range for quite some time. The flows overall have definitely been to the upside, although really more in the 10-year and not in the other instruments. Oil is taking a little bit of a dip. So... Crude oil selling off hard to start June. So now I think I should look at my indicator here. So I was looking at it on the close on Friday, and it was incorrect. So there's definitely a bug in the indicator. So when I looked at it, I saw and I was like, oh, well, that's going to, you know, basically the bug that I saw was make it the period be one less than it should be. You know, like if you put it 10, it's actually a 10-minute rolling window. But if it's still a rolling, because basically what happened is that some of the numbers went negative, which shouldn't happen. So I made that the one change that I knew needed to happen. Oh, by the way, is this not? So I changed this. It has an ID and it is not writing with that ID, huh? What's with that? It must be because of the class. It must be that the class level things don't have access to the higher. So do I need to put it in here? I can fix that part later. Can I rename this? Yes, I can. Well, let's see if that fixed it at all. So I want to come into a spot like here, I guess. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, I got that really good. And we also want this. Okay, so all of these together should equal this. It does. Okay. And all of these ones together equals sum of these together should equal this. Okay. It is working correctly now. Got to make one more fix. Yep. Yeah, I will send it to you, Uzi. I make one more fix. Well, I might be able to do it right now. Do it over here so you can still see my face, but I'm gonna do it off screen. Oh. Underscore ID. Oh, Get set. I think you'd use value, right? Oh. Protected. It's not private. It's a protected. Okay. So now, if I hit refresh on this, okay, well, everything cleared out, which is actually good. It's good. It's good. I'm gonna delete all of these old files. Oh, there we go. Okay, it did give me an ID there, and the ID is the one that is set there. Okay, so I think that fixes it. So now I have to I forget, when I gave it to you last time, I gave you like the whole thing bundled up, right? Actually, I think I can just give you the extra version. So because there was a bug, the values that you've been getting are going to be a little bit wrong. See if that works. Okay, it exported it. We got about 8 minutes until the news. Okay, where are you? So that will add, like, it will be market order imbalance cash. So try that one. Of course, I'm running it over here on my own, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so PMIs. The US ISM manufacturing PMI prediction 49.6 and prices paid 59.5. Oh, and the S&P manufacturing PMIs was 51.3 versus 50.9. So my guess, and I got to tell you, I tend to be pretty good at like guessing these, but like when are my guesses going to be good and when are they not? I'm not really sure about like when I make a guess how certain I am of my guess. But my guess is going to be that the headline PMI number is going to be weaker than anticipated. In fact, it could be substantially weaker, like maybe 45. But the prices paid might be slightly hot, like 60 instead of 59.5. Breaking Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is just dropped 99%. What? For real? For real? That's crazy. BRKB is what you want, right? Well, I don't see that. Maybe it's the A shares. Yeah, it's the A share. Holy crap. That looks pretty weird. But so, A shares, basically you buy those to get more say over the company. So nobody really trades BRKA. So they're saying it's an error. Yeah, because look, this is a stock that is literally like they don't even split it, right? Because you're not intended to buy this one. So that's why the price is $500,000 per share. And now they're saying that an order went off at 185. So it must have been that something that was meant for BRKB. Yeah, well, maybe not, because that's at 410. So I don't know what it was, but yeah, very clear error. But it's only affecting the A shares, not the B shares. So not as big of a deal as we would think. Like, I wouldn't go turn around and sell BRKB because of that. But the S&P 500 is selling pretty hard here, isn't it? Do you think that they know that, oh, you know what? I never hit enter. I never hit enter. Now you should see the zip file. Bond. Oh, yeah, that is interesting. Yours went to 0. Went to 0. I tell you what, the fishy stuff been going on there. Like this whole thing about the index not being published for like 30 minutes or whatever. Holy crap. Anyways, I'm watching this and I'm kind of wondering if the market is placing a bet / front running the PMI. It's either that or they're flipping out over GameStop again, right? Where are we at on that? Well, I really think it got halted here, but maybe not. That bar makes it look like it should have been halted, but it was actually because it's over the last 10 minutes, so it will actually include these prices over here. Yeah, tape is still moving. You know, what I'm seeing, though, does not bode well for GameStop because this is way calmer than it's been. Maybe retail traders actually figured it out this time. Maybe they figured it out. Too many people got burned from the company selling shares and like, I'm not doing that again. We got about 1 minute though, and we get the PMI. So all our questions will be answered shortly. also putting off the buying the Norgate data because I'm like, I don't think I'm going to work on that today. Yeah. Maybe we'll do it after PMI. I'm looking at like my disk usage and it's not really using it. So I kind of wonder, well, I had problems before where I was like, what if I tried to export or tried to write out like the video in 4K? What would it do? And this kind of makes me think maybe I could do it with this disk. Okay. Oh. Okay, so I said it may be 45, but it was 48.7. So lower than expected, 48.7 versus an expected 49.6. But big ISM manufacturing prices paid was 57 versus 59.5. So the market's going to love that. Okay, and the S&P 500 is buying that one. The treasuries, they went up, which we should expect either way. But the question was, is the market concerned about growth? If the market is concerned about growth, then you get a lower than anticipated number and the S&P 500 would sell. That's not what's happening. I think that if the prices paid had been higher than anticipated, maybe it would be different. But now, this one is coming back really far. So I'm going to come in here. I need to change my merge policy. Merge, back adjusted. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's good. Doesn't really change anything. Okay, just less gaps. So, with that, the treasuries just a little bit shy of 17. So, a little bit curious about the price that it turned around at. But even beyond that, there's a little bit of room all the way up to 21.5, right? But it sure seems to be coming back quite a bit, so I think I got to be a little bit worried about how to trade it. Especially since I do think that the treasuries were front running it somewhat. That could mean that there could be a lot of profit taking and that might make the flows negative. The 30-year is cumulative delta is negative. Okay, so see this right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. How does it go negative? It shouldn't be able to go negative. So it's better because the window is correct, but I think that there is still a bug. Yours did not go negative. So mine is set to calculate on bar close, and I'm guessing that you have yours set to on each tick, right? So it may be logic in the on bar closed sides path of the logic. Yeah. So let's come into this thing. Add a .csv to it. So, yeah. That does not make any sense. Okay, so at least that's correct. Wait, it said 0 buys there. Really? The 801 candle. Really? That can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. $11,988. That's correct. And then see what happens after that, though. Oh, that can't be right. Did I? So when you do this, equals sum of this thing, or no, not this bit, right? That will be negative 231. Oh, no, that's not negative 231. That's 11,757. So what happened there? It's like everything got reset. You're still using the old one. Does not make sense. Bar close. There's nothing in my output window. That I cannot explain that at all. See, so these are the current bar, and these are the running bar. And oh, well, now that data point right there, it makes even less sense, right? Because that one's like, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. Like this should be 11,000. And it says it's negative 364. And where did it get negative 364 from? Because it was negative 231 before. And then we should be adding this. And we should be taking away this. Oh, actually, maybe that does explain it. Oh, man, there's some big orders coming out here. Okay, so we got negative 231. Come on. Negative. Plus 2518 minus 2651 was negative 364. Okay, so it did the calculation correct. The problem is, what happened here? Because this one is not add this, take away this. Right. Wouldn't even be close. How did it go from 11,000 to basically 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 is 0. Is it just a one time, like that 10th bar will always be screwed up because I'm not doing a proper check? Basically, I'm making a really silly mistake here, but I'm not exactly entirely sure what it is. But I don't know why it would reset that. See, it's adding 0 and it's subtracting 231. It's like it's getting reset right there. Something for it to go down, there's something has to be setting that, and that is the first time that it would do anything with rank, but it's saying running buys equals my current running buys, which should be 11,988 minus the current buys of the period, which would be 231. But then for some reason it says running buys is actually 0. Oh, wait. No, because we're always adding to the running buys there. So very, very interesting. And then probably after that, it's fine, right? Oops. I'll save. Close this. Open it back up.
Block by.
That time it didn't happen. Dude, if it lets you buy a Berkshire Hathaway A share at $185, I would 100% do it. I will be so utterly stunned if it lets you buy a Berkshire A share at one. Oh, it says the bid and ask are both 0. That's funny. I think that I didn't wait long enough on that one. Also, there's I wonder why this in my cache thing, when I'm generating the name. Yeah. GameStop still selling? I mean, it's lost, what, 25%? But it's still above, you know. So 25.50, that's the only price that really matters. That's where RoaringKitty loses money. Assuming he didn't already sell. Kind of realizing that my thing only does the import export at the beginning of at the beginning of the bar before it does the calculation. That's why you see the calculation, but it didn't write anything yet. So here in 10 seconds, we'll get another data point here, and I should get a file output. Okay. And yes, I do have a file now. And that file has one data point. And the first one is not a number. It's got to be something to do with that, but I'm just like, what the... Well, like, we should say, though, like, GameStop, this is so far has just been, like, a natural pullback after an overnight jump. But it just seems way too calm. Like, I don't think that the retail traders are on this. Really don't. Japanese yen is looking good. And they're jumping. They jumped with everything, but Japanese yen is a little bit higher. Maybe it's on par with the treasuries. Oil just got dumped on, man. Good grief. And gold is looking good. So we need to wait until we have like 15 bars over here, and then we can look at it again. But I'm kind of like wondering if it had more to do with this jump than it did anything else. It really seems like something reset that variable, but we'll see if it's that or if it's just the 10. That like when you get to 10, I've got something there in the code that is resetting that variable and I don't realize it. Like something caused it to get recreated. Maybe I had just refreshed it there. I don't know. Because I double checked my code and it all looks correct, so. Granted, I don't trust my original code, right? It usually takes a couple iterations to get everything perfect, but no other explanation, so. Okay. Was writing something there and kind of zoned out for a second. I do see the treasuries took quite a bit of a pullback there again. I don't know if we were looking for like our cost basis indicator, they have like quite a ways to go. I kind of suspect though that this is like mean reversion period. It seems to be creating a hole at 12. So I think that we could probably justify buying it below 12. Are they doing a good job of damage? Yeah, I mean, the issue is that the liquidity is probably still damaged all the way back to 06. So, you know, you could see it go all the way back. But I don't think that anybody's like actively selling it. I think that this is just, you know, there was a large meta order, and now the large meta order subsided, and that's why it came back to rest at 12. So if I think there's going to be another leg, probably this, like, anything below 12 is probably acceptable. But I do not like what I see in the order flow. What do I mean by that? Well, I want to see... You know, I want to see consistent upside. And that is just not what's happening. Come on. Can I not? Okay, so what's with this? What's with this? Right, that's selling. Versus that.
Block sell.
This is buying. No, I don't like that. I'll just do a regular one of these. You know what I should do? I should turn this on. Now you can see where my mouse is really easily. This right here is good, right? Like, we want to see it moving up, but you're not seeing the others go with it. So it's doing something kind of funky. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to stay out. And again, look at oil. Oil got hammered pretty hard this morning. So interesting. You see that? Like the little thing for my where it draws my mouse is like it does it behind it. Oh, that's so freaky. Ah. Is it maybe because... Here, I'm gonna restart it. I'm gonna restart the pen. Did you see the end of this strict? No, wait. Is that the fight? Is that the UFC fight that Donald Trump went to? Is it set for always on? Well, yeah, but there's not a setting for it. Now it's on top. I think that it may have something to do with like when it opened up or something. But now it does it. And then you can see when I click on something. Ooh, cool little effect. It's a new feature that they added in there. Dude, are they really jumping back up again already? Because I remember I was like, well, 11.5 is maybe, you know, anything below 12. But I was kind of worried that they were going to... Oh, wait. Okay, they just came down and there was a big order at 11.5 that disappeared. Eek. So I need to get better at not closing windows when I need them. One of the guys on my team at work, he like never closes tab, and so when you see his Internet Explorer is just like tabs all the way across the top, and he has these weird little plugins that like allow him to order them into little groups and stuff, but still, I don't understand how he knows where anything is. Okay, so it did save it as a CSV file. And so far that looks good, but I think that we need, okay, so 15. So it looks like I'm not getting that error with this now. So I'm just going to close it so that it doesn't like stop it from exporting. But the error must have been related to something else. Maybe I refreshed it and I didn't realize it. Maybe something about the big, huge jump kind of screwed it up. But for some reason, the running total got reset. Which actually, maybe I should change that. Because if the indicator if I press the refresh button, then it will reset those running totals. And since I'm not using like the running total from the data series, it'll be screwed up at that point. So every time that you hit F5 on it, it's going to screw up the running total. So you don't want to do that, I don't think. Well, except for that, if you hit refresh, it should start the running total from the very beginning, shouldn't it? Oh, no, it won't. Only if you have tick replay enabled. Oh, so I should just use the calculated value from the previous bar, I guess. And I was doing it that way because of these weird changes between the two types, but I can sort that out. I'll fix that. I keep the little thing on there and you can see where my mouse is. I don't know if you like that or not. I don't know how many of you even look at the screen anyways, so. Okay, let's see what Mohammed A. El Arian says about the ISM data. The measure of U.S. factory activity in May was at 48.7, below the consensus forecast of 49.5, and is the lowest in 3 months. It is also notable that the decline in the aggregate measure was led by a sharper drop in new orders. These numbers are consistent with other signals of an economy losing momentum at a faster rate than most expect. Yet consensus market expectations for Fed policy action remain relatively hawkish, with many expecting only one rate cut this year. Such rate expectations may make sense for an overly data-dependent Federal Reserve. They are less consistent with a central bank seeking to meet both elements of its dual mandate. I think he might be right. Like, well, let's see here. We're in June. Wait, when are the next meetings? Meeting calendars and information. June, July, September. So I'm a little bit skeptical about, like, are you going to get 3 rate cuts or 6 rate cuts and all that sort of stuff? But could they maybe cut in July instead of September? This seems like a possibility. And let's come and look at what the CME group says. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Interest rates. Tools. SOFR Watch. Fed Watch. Okay, current rate is 5.25, so The market's not expecting anything for June. Then I said, could it be July? 14.5% say they could cut in July. And then when you get to September, the vast majority of the market thinks that they will cut in September. So over the next week or two, keep an eye on this. That might change.
Block sell.
Oh, ow, ow, ow. That they smacked that down. I need to not slouch in my chair. I'm kind of wondering if this chair is not the best for me, because it really allows me to hunch over right here and still be comfortable, and I need to. I don't have it. I usually have it so I'm a little bit further back, but even like here, I'm tempted to do this. I should be doing this. Otherwise, it hurts this muscle in my back. Because it's basically like your rib cage, just like constantly in the out of spot, wrong spot. Maybe I should do this. I should move the microphone up a little bit there. There, that'll have me like, yeah. Sit up straight, Seth, because if you slouch, you need too into it. Maybe. We'll see. Oil's still going down, eh? This little indicator thing around my mouse. Kind of, I gotta find a safe spot to click. Right here, there we go. It's kind of fun to just click it, yeah? It's kind of fun to just click it. Now, we should check how upset are the GameStop traders. It's not too bad. That's not too bad. It's kind of just sitting there now. Stabilizing. S&P 500 gave up those gains from the... Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess we need to update what I had said earlier about it. I didn't realize that they before that candle was even done, they cut it back. Maybe the market is still concerned about growth. So I can do clicks too. You see, like right here, see this area? It's just kind of flat through this whole area right here. The upset GameStop traders asks me, I went long oil this morning. Oh my gosh, live action. Say it ain't so. Because okay, sorry, I have not been like accurately describing what has happened in oil. Okay, that's 77.20. That's 74.77. So they've lost like over $2. Live action, been a while, good to see. Yeah, it was, well, it's only been like a week or two, yeah. But I'll always be here. I don't know, what do you think it would take to get me to stop streaming? I could start a hedge fund, and for regulatory reasons, streaming might not be wise anymore, and then we would maybe have to stop the stream. So if you're desperate to get rid of me, just help me start a hedge fund, and then I'll be out of your hair forever. Now that it's like in my mind, I'm like, I have to sit up, Actually feels weird to slouch like this now. I think I'm gonna try keeping my, because I let my chair lean back like this. Let's see, when I'm that far back, that doesn't feel very comfortable. This feels comfortable. But that's slouching. I need to sit up like this. When looking at notes with buy-sell stops prior to key reports, you might want to take a look. Okay. I feel like that the market behaves differently going into reports than the past. It's like somebody in the Biden administration is giving the reports out early or something. Like that's the only way I can describe it. This is like something changed and like the reports are getting out before, because I just see way more front running going into the reports than I ever did under Trump. And I wouldn't even say that it's like maybe the last 2 years. It hasn't been the whole time during Biden. So it's not like I can blame it on Biden. I'm just kind of using that as kind of to give you an idea of like when it seems like this started happening. I don't know how I feel about, so, you know, like there was the pullback around 11.5. That would have been a good buy. You get into 15. Would I have been holding out for a new high? But right now, that doesn't really look like that's in the cards. So... should we buy the Norgate data? I don't know if I'm going to use it today. I guess I can do free trial. Register for free trial. Oh, no, that's just... Oh, so where do you, oh, order form. Order form. New accounts. Okay, so it says, here's all these different access methods. So now I'm like, well, do I want Python? Only Python running on Windows is supported. But then there's also Zipline. Only Zipline running on Windows is supported. But what's the difference between the two? I think I need to go into a little bit more detail. Usage. Oh, Python package. Zipline package. Okay. Hype. Okay, so it's compatible with Python 3.5 plus. That's good. Norgate data updater. Norgate data. I think this is the way I want to do it. Python. Oh, I can select more than one. Ah, they have PayPal. Cool. Okay, so over the news squawk, I was just hearing Netanyahu saying that there will be no deal. There's no deal until their conditions have been met. So, if you missed it, while everyone was talking about the Trump indictment, Joe Biden came out and said, "Oh, like we have a deal, and Israel will accept it, or Hamas will accept it." And then Israel's like, "No, we're not going to accept it." No. So like he tried basically lying his way into pressuring Israel to accept it again, and they're just kind of like, "What? No, no." Okay. Cool. Okay, so I can close this. Expires December 3rd. All right, guys, we got all summer to build the most awesomest momentum strategy. Should get started tomorrow. Because it's 8:52. Well, actually, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it today, off stream. But any thoughts on an ideal refresh rate? What do you mean by the ideal refresh rate? That's a little bit too general. Saw a report that the Rafah tunnels are large enough to transport vehicles. Yeah. Dude, it's insane what they've been doing. Hey, maybe they do end up getting a new high. You know what? I'm a little bit mad about this one because, like, I totally identified the right buy location, right? I was just like, I thought they were going to give me more time, you know? And I wasn't going to trade it because, you know, I don't like the way the volume has been going. But this more recent move up, I am starting to see all the treasuries moving up, so maybe I could be in it now. But how far the treasuries could go from here, I'm a little bit uncertain of. So, yeah. How much did that data cost? It was $150. So we'll do that. I'll look at my videos. I think what I will do, because one of the things that I wanted to do was like make TikToks out of the stream. But then it was like making my face the right size and everything was like not working. So then I was like, well, what if we tilt the camera on its side and record it in 4K? But then when I tried doing that, it wasn't recording 4K video. Like when I tried recording 4K video, rather, it was like all jumpy. It didn't work. So we're hoping that that was just like a hard drive speed issue and that now it will be able, because the recording the two video outputs that I have right now, and it's not a 4K, seems to be working. So I refreshed a bit. Oh, you know what? I think that's the default on Jigsaw of like, oh, no, I'm still not sure what you're talking about. Because there's so many the settings in Jigsaw, and I don't think you're using Jigsaw, are you? So in here, there's the clear trades timer interval, which is set to 2500, which is what I think you're talking about. And I leave it at that default because I want to see if it ticks up and then comes back down, how many contracts does it take to lift, right? Now, some people, like my understanding is John Grady has it to 10 seconds. And that does give you a much better idea of how much trades there overall. So it kind of depends on what you have, what you care more about and what you have more difficulty with seeing. I have a pretty good idea of how many contracts trade there overall because I have other ways of looking at it, right? Like I can look at my cumulative delta and I can look at my volume profile, and I tend to remember how much is traded there and how, you know, 87,000, that's a pretty decent amount for point of control for the session, right? We've had winning controls for the session of the past week, or it was more like 40,000, for instance, right? Yeah. So 10 seconds meaning 10,000 milliseconds is the way that John does it. That's if you want to see, even though it ticks up and down, how much overall trades there on the inside. But I personally think that how much it takes each tick matters more. It's just that you don't want those ones where it only briefly goes up there for a split second. You don't want those ones to count. So, but you know, if it's been up there and it's been more than 2.5 seconds, then it comes back down, resets. So yeah, that's the way I like it. But I guess it's really preference. Okay, guys. So we had a lot of stuff to do today, but I did do it. Now we'll see if I can like turn that into a video and post it on TikTok to see how many GameStop cultists I can get to be mad at me or to convert. Because I really think that the retail traders should be pissed at him, but that's just me. It looks like the treasuries are settling here at 15 again. That's a little interesting. Yeah, no, we saw it. Take a look at Berkshire. So. Oh man, GameStop is just like going sideways now. So the data error was in A. So let's see what B is doing now. Nah, B is not too bad. B, it seems to be coming down with the rest of the market, but it seems okay. It's A shares, BRK.A. Yeah. And it kind of looks like you got the one data point where you know, it got the error and it's been like halted or offline ever since. So I don't know what that's about. Don't know what that's about, but it's kind of funny. So I'm telling you, if any of you actually get an opportunity to buy an A share for $185, do it. Don't even think about it. Just click the button. Don't even think about it. Didn't Buffett say they should have had just traded indexes? Well, over the last few years, I think that they've underperformed the index a little bit, but I still believe in them in the long run. I'm still a believer. So it's like I was saying, I hope that someday we figure out the way, you know, that the indexes are executing enough to front run them and increase their cost of execution enough that the index fund doesn't make any sense. That's actually what I want to happen. And everybody would go, well, Seth, why would you want to do that? There's so many people that are investing in those and it's been so good for them. And I'd say, no, I want them to buy individual shares, and that would be better for society. Is if public companies were actually held to account to the public instead of the owners of large index funds. So I'm an extremist, I know. Guys, I gotta go going. I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, stay excellent.